Good afternoon. I'm here with my guest, Robin Stratton. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you very much.
Robin Stratton has been a writing coach in the Boston area for over 20 years, and she's the author of 4 novels, including one which won a National Indie Excellence Book Award finalist, and 2 collections of poetry and short fiction, and a writing guide, which actually I'm using in my class at Endicott College. A 4-time Pushcart Prize nominee. She's been published in World, Riot, 63 Channels, Antithesis Common, Poor Richards, Blink Inc., Pig in a Poke, Chick Flicks, Up the Staircase, fine magazine, Shoots and Vines, and many others. Were you in Ibbotson Street?
No.
Oh,
That's all right.
All right. She is the acquisition editor for Big Table Publishing, senior editor for the Boston Literary Magazine, and director of the Newton Writing and Publishing Center. Robin, you recently, like a year ago, opened the Newton Writing and Publishing Center, and you had it earlier. What inspired you to revisit it again?
Oh, it's just something I've always wanted to do, and the first time I didn't have as many venues to get the word out with Facebook now, and also back then I wasn't part of this literary circle.
What year was that?
Ooh, 2000 and maybe 2006 or 2007.
When you were 25.
When I was 25, and so it just it didn't really go anywhere. But I always sort of had it, in the back of my mind that I wanted to do it again. And then with Facebook, and then with just getting involved in this circle, it just seemed, like it would be a lot more possible to get people to come in. And we opened in May, so you're right, it's almost a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how has it been?
Oh, it's great. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. You were the first recipient of the Allen Ginsberg Literary Communication.
Yes, I remember
whatever the hell
well.
it is. Yep. Yeah. And then this year it's Gloria Mindock. That's going to happen on May 14th.
Okay.
And so we're excited about that. But we have a lot of book launches, and we have a lot of literary events. What I'm thinking, I'm going to be publishing an anthology, a Best of Boston Literary Magazine.
Yes, I just saw the manuscript for the first one.
And I might have a day of everybody who's in the area who's got a story in that to come and just
or a poem.
Or a poem, and do a reading. So that's something I'm thinking about.
That's the first time you've had an anthology. Well, you've had little anthologies.
I had a little anthology about 4 years after the magazine started, which was just a chapbook like the magazines. But now it's this is to celebrate our 10th anniversary. We're 10 years old this year. And so it was just, it was so much material to go through, but it was just really great reviewing everything, and we've just had so many great writers like you.
And I'm really privileged to be writing the introduction for the second edition.
Yep,
That's due out in the fall, right?
Yep.
When's the first one due out?
The first one is going to come out June 1st, probably.
Now, if you wanted to order a copy, what would you do?
I would probably go to the Big Table Publishing site, which is bigtablepublishing.com.
Okay.
And it'll be posted there.
Can you tell us some of the, because I noticed a lot of names that are very familiar to me, not even outside of our circles.
Yeah.
Some people who are going to be in it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, there's Meg Tuitt, there's Doug Mathewson, there's Stephen Parrish, who does the Lascaux Review, Diane
That's
Smith.
a very good review.
Yeah, it is. Diane Smith, who does Grace Sparrow.
Yeah, I've met her, and she's a wonderful
She's
person.
great. She loves you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who the hell doesn't?
Right, of course.
I said, hell, it's live TV. That's all right. Who else? There is also Michaela Myers. There's Craig Fishbane. These are people that are sort of outside, like you say, Brian Finelli, Amy Archer, who just put out a book at Big Table, which I actually nominated for a Pulitzer because it's her memoirs, and it's just an amazing book. It's the best-selling book of Big Table history.
And she may be listening today.
She may be listening. She's in Scranton, so I don't know, but she'll definitely watch this on YouTube.
Okay. Big Table Books, if you were asked about a mission statement about it, what might you say?
Oh.
Because we all have a mission.
Yeah, we have a mission. I think that Big Table is for people that are signing on with a small press but really want a lot of help in terms of promoting and getting the word out, and like hand holding if they need that, a lot of editing services. I've worked with publishers. I mean, I've had my books published, and I know how hands-off they were, which is why I started publishing myself, because the other publishers, you know, you'd send them the manuscript, they'd get back to you maybe 3 months later, say, you know, we love it, it'll be out in, you know, the spring or whatever. And then there was not any, you know, give and take or back and forth. And
I can attest to that. You put a book out by me, Portrait of an Artist as a
Yeah.
Young Poseur, and you know, sent me real quick.
I'm quick. I know.
yeah.
I really, because
And it
I'm a
was-
writer and I
yeah.
hate to wait, and so I really want people to have that. I want them
Small
to.
book, but I mean, still.
Yeah. I try to be that way. I try to really, you know, because it's a full-time job for me, and I try to really be, you know, really responsive within a day or two, getting back to people. And even if they send queries, for the most part, I really try to get back to them very quickly. Sometimes it'll be, you know, it'll take a month if I've really got a backlog, which I kind of do right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I know you write a lot, and you're best known, I think, as a novelist. We start out. Now, I was going to say that we start out imitating other writers and then find our own voice. How did you find your voice?
I think you imitate someone and then you go back and read them and you think, wow, it doesn't look like their stuff at all. But then, you know, hopefully you're happy with what you've written.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would read John Updike and I would just read sentences over and over, and I'd just think, oh, holy smack, that's just unbelievable. And I just try to go there. You know, his metaphors were so colorful and so adventurous and unrestrained, and so that's the kind of thing I try to do.
And he was a great chronicler of the suburbs. Did you find a
Yes.
lot of what he was writing about
Yeah.
true of?
Yeah.
Because you grew up in Newton.
Yeah, no, I didn't grow up in Newton.
Oh, yeah, I know, but then you moved to Newton.
Yeah, I moved to Newton when I was, you know, how old? Well, whatever it
Yeah.
was. It was 12 years ago or whatever. But I grew up in Wilmington,
okay.
Mass, which is
Okay.
definitely the suburbs. Yeah, I think of Newton as the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the big
All right,
city.
so Wilmington, you grew up in Wilmington,
Yeah.
which is a suburb, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, and you do see that. I mean, and I find that I like to include a sense of locale in all of my. They all take place in Massachusetts, but I like to really include that sense, especially living near Boston. I like the color of that city, you know, including those kind of things. But I also have a couple of stories set, you know, like you say, in the suburbs, and people are just very different there.
Mm-hmm. They're very different there, you say?
Yeah.
How so?
Oh my God! You try and drive in Wilmington versus Newton. I
Okay.
don't want to say anything bad about Newton.
Okay.
It's a great town.
Now, you know, you said you gave me the Allen Ginsberg Poetry Award. And how did that idea start? You know, I know why you gave it to me. I've been saying the whole idea of the Allen Ginsberg Award. You're giving it also to Somerville publisher Gloria Mindock of the Savannah Barber Press in May. So, why Allen Ginsberg? What's the deal?
Allen Ginsberg was, to me, not just a great, you know, poet, but he really he devoted himself to promoting his friends. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of his friends, like Jack Kerouac, I don't think would have been nearly as big as if Allen Ginsberg had not been pushing the word and getting the word out.
You know, Allen started out in advertising. Did you know that?
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah, and so.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was in advertising, one of his first jobs, and in fact, he was a great advertiser for the Beat movement, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Well,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing, is that energy of just spreading, you know, and sharing, and you don't find that everywhere. You know, when I was first trying to get published, I would write to local authors who were sort of well known, just see if they had any advice or whatever. They didn't want to give out advice, you know. They didn't want to help you. They didn't want to give you their agent's name, which I get now because they didn't want to share their agent. But Allen Ginsberg in a million years would not have done that. He would have been like, oh, sure, you know, meet me at so-and-so. I'll take you down there. And I just love that sense of just, you know, sharing people's words and their works and just getting the word out, because it's just the right thing to do for this community.
Right.
I'm really passionate about that. I mean, that's one of the things I love about Facebook is, you know, you see that somebody has gotten published and you just share it to their wall and you congratulate them, and maybe someone else shares it and maybe they sell a book out of it or something. I just love that.
Okay. Robin, this area that we live in is a vital center of writing. I mean, there's all kinds of writers, workshops, et cetera, et cetera. What do you think would make it even better?
I think that if we could get some bigger names to come to these smaller known areas and bring bigger crowds, and because yourself, when you host an open mic or something, there's mostly poets in the audience that are there because they want to read. There's not as much crowd as you would like, and I wish we could get the word out that come to these events and just watch and
well, some events are very well attended, the Grolier and other things like that, but they're centrally located. So what are you saying, out in the burbs?
I wish the famous people would somehow get involved and bring the crowds in. I mean, maybe you bring a crowd in. I have trouble bringing a crowd in. Yeah. I don't really know how that could happen, though, because they're busy and they're in Hollywood, and I'm not judging them or anything. I just wish there was a way.
You're talking about actors or poets, big name poets?
I'm talking about the writers that didn't make any money until they went to Hollywood and they wrote the screenplay for Spider-Man, and they won a Pulitzer Prize. Michael Chabon, great writer, won a Pulitzer Prize. He couldn't. He was still sort of struggling, and so he went to Hollywood and. Like Michael Chabon should come to my writing center. That's how I think things could be better.
All right. Again, where's your writing center located?
We're in Newton, Upper Falls.
Yeah.
We're right on Elliott Street, which is right off of Route 9. We're right on a green line, so if anybody wants to go. And it's a good idea to always check the website, because we always have the events. It's Newton Writing and Publishing Center.com.
Do you still offer workshops and things like that?
We are going to be offering some workshops this season. We're hoping to get people to sign up for them. Getting the word out has been kind of difficult.
Okay, is there a phone number they can reach you also? Or no, you're right, you don't have a phone number.
It's better to just contact us by the email. Then you can, spell out your whole idea.
Okay. Now, Robin, I know you brought some stuff to read in. You got a lot of time.
That's gads of time. I have too much time.
You have too much time?
Yeah, I only brought a couple things, because last time I finished and the thing just ended immediately, so I didn't have enough time.
Well, read what you have, and
all right,
then we'll chat some more.
Okay, can I move this thing, whatever this is? The next book I'm working on, I'm sort of taking a break from the novels because they take a really long time, and it's sort of a heartbreak when you spend 20 years and then it's really hard to sell copies.
I was going to point out that when you lectured at Endicott College, the students were very impressed. One thing that they constantly referred to was your persistence. I mean, that's been a theme in your life. Maybe you could just touch on that.
Well, I just always knew I'd be a writer since I was a little girl. I just simply never wanted to do anything else. And even, when I got out of college, I lived at home. My parents, always said stay home and write and don't worry about getting a job. And so I got to stay home and do that. And back then, when you were sending stuff out, you'd type it up and then you'd, go to the library and make copies, and then you'd send it out, and you could send it direct to the publishing companies. And it was a very different process, but I wasn't the writer then that I am now. And looking back, oh my God, so terrible, this stuff. But it was all part of the growing process, which I think all writers except John Updike have to go through. And so I would occasionally get frustrated with it, and I'd think, well, maybe I should just do something else. And I never could come up with anything else to do.
I remember you got a gig with the Blue Cross.
My God, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I did weird jobs.
Health insurance.
No, I was just a temp.
Oh, okay.
No, I never actually had a job. I worked in an antique store that was mine. I buffed pewter. I had a lot of factory jobs.
Yeah.
But I never really had an actual regular job that, a paycheck came in every week.
Wow.
Yeah, I was lucky. I really avoided doing that. But I would get frustrated, but then there were no other options. I mean, I literally could not come up with anything else that I wanted to do, and so I kept going back to it, and I've been really, really lucky because I've been able to, now this is what I do. I don't just write, I publish, and I'm in the industry.
Part of your living, too, right, as an editor and
Yeah.
Okay, you have a lot of clients.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Yeah,
the magazine, the clients,
How would they contact you if they wanted you to edit their book, or
They could go to bigtablepublishing.com.
How many books have you edited, if you had to just give a ballpark figure?
Counting the ones I've published?
Sure.
Wow. Oh, maybe like 50, 100. I don't even know. I mean, I've been doing it for so many years.
Yeah.
I've ghostwritten a couple books.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hear her stuff.
Okay, well, so I'm taking a break from the novels a little bit, and I have a poetry group that I meet with every other Monday.
Yes, and I think, who's in that? Michael Keith, is he in that? No.
Michael Keith isn't in it, but Tom Lyons and Chris Riley, you know.
The New England Mobile Book Fair.
Yep, who drove me in today, and
Who else?
Chris Riley, you know.
He's the poet laureate of
Yes, he is. Yep, he's also the graphic art designer for Big Table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I don't think of myself as a poet, but I do enjoy it, and I also like writing short fiction. And so I decided to do a collection. You know how all writers think they're fascinating and they want to always write about themselves. And so I thought, sort of inspired by you, I thought I would like to write a book that were poems and short fiction about, you know, just autobiographical, every single one, just sort of starting from when I was a little girl to now. And I don't really know how interesting it's going to be to other people, but I'm really enjoying it, and it's fun. It's fun to do, and you know, so I'll probably put that into a book. So I just brought a couple of those.
Lay it on us.
Okay. This first one is called Moms.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. My mom is still close to her best friend from high school, who also has a daughter who is also named Robin. They live in Rye, New Hampshire, and I've met Robin a few times when they visited us. She's 11, a year younger than me, but she's cool. Actually, she's probably cooler than me, but since I'm older, I have an edge. It's decided that I will spend 2 weeks with her, and we're both excited. In the weeks prior to my visit, letters go back and forth as we make plans. Go to the beach, explore the woods, stay up all night, sneak out of the house and watch the sun come up, prick our fingers and be blood sisters, go to the playground and look for cute boys. My mom drives me up, and Robin and her mom meet us in the driveway. My mom and her mom hug and kiss and talk about traffic and how good a cup of coffee would be. Robin and I head straight for her room. Funny thing is, Robin's mom is a very different person after my mom leaves. She's strict, unsmiling, and mean. She makes Robin color her hair blonde because she doesn't like her being a brunette. When Robin doesn't have her new glasses on, her mom throws a fit and makes her get them. Then she says to make sure to wash them with soap and dry them with a tissue, not a paper towel. When she's around, Robin and I try not to talk much. When we can, we go for walks just to be out from under her glare. 2 days into my visit, I'm told we're going to a birthday party that Robin has been invited to. Robin says she tried to get out of it, but her mom is making her go. So Robin's mom drops us off and says she'll be back in 3 hours. It's girls only, and there's a record player and soda pop and chips. But as soon as the birthday girl's mom goes upstairs, we go out the door and into the woods and back. With a grin, the birthday girl produces 3 cigarettes, which she has stolen from her mom's purse. We are so cool, we're going to smoke. I'm fine with it. When we lived in Fishkill, one of my friends had a cigarette and I took a puff. So I'm familiar with the slender, papery sensation between the fingers, the bitterness in the throat, and the sophisticated blowout. When the cigarette comes to me, I take a drag. I am so cool. I don't cough or choke like some of the others. Suddenly we hear a shout, and there's the birthday girl's little brother. Deliciously scandalized, he says, "Oh boy, are you in trouble?" and runs off to tell her mom. She appears a few minutes later, and she is mad. We obey orders to get back in the house now and wait while calls are dispatched to all the other moms. One by one they come. When Robin's mom arrives, she thanks the birthday girl's mom for calling and tells us to get into the car. Face grim, lips tight, knuckles white as they grip the steering wheel at 10 and 2. She is almost too angry to speak. "You are grounded," she says. "You are not to leave my sight." The big question is, will she call my mom? I don't have to wait very long before I get my answer. As soon as we get back to Robin's house, she goes right to the phone. Robin and I slip down the hall into Robin's room and shut the door, quietly because shutting the door is forbidden. I feel sick. My mom is going to be so disappointed in me. I have never disappointed her. I vow to behave for the rest of my visit. However, Robin's mom storms into the room and announces that I will be leaving the next day. I hang my head. Secretly, I'm a little relieved. So the next day, my mom arrives. Once again, she and Robin's mom hug and kiss. Robin's mom maintains a stony silence toward me, nods when I thank her. Robin and I say goodbye like it's the last time we'll see each other. I climb meekly into the car with my mom. She backs out, waves at Robin, who stands forlornly in the driveway, and heads to the main road. Turning to me, she says, "You know, I was almost exactly your age when I got caught smoking." And then she laughs.
So is this a real?
Yeah, they're all real.
By the way, Robin,
Yes.
take a look outside. You see snow,
I
right?
do.
And this is what date?
April 4th.
5th. April 5th.
Yes.
And there's snow out there. If you see this backdrop
Yeah, it's
here. So that's
absurd.
New England for you,
We're not
folks.
happy about that.
We're not happy about that.
Oh, we're not happy about that
Okay.
at all. Yeah,
Okay.
okay, so. Yeah, so that, it's really fun revisiting these. And like I say, who knows who will be interested in them.
Right.
I know my brothers will get a kick out of them.
Okay.
I don't want to cover that, so.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we have one more. So this is called The Summer of Lizzie Borden.
Okay.
My best friends and I spent the summer of 1973 trying to determine if Lizzie Borden really had killed her parents. From cardboard, we fashioned an axe. Judy used a red magic mark on the blade to make it look bloody. Karen lay on the couch with eyes closed, awaiting her fate. Diane stood by with a stopwatch, clarifying the time restrictions we all knew by heart. Abby Borden was a cinch, scads of time. But Andrew Borden came home at 10:40 and went to take a nap at 10:50. Bridget the maid went upstairs at 11. Lizzie called her down at 11:10 to say her father had been killed. Like the director of a film, I coordinate the action. And as always, our conclusion was the same. It was possible, but how to explain the absence of blood in Lizzie's hair? Andrew's blood was spattered all over the wall and floor and even the ceiling. Most sleepovers took place at my house. We had a rec room downstairs where we could make a reasonable amount of noise, and my parents were sound sleepers, retiring right after Carson's monologue. Usually we had pizza, Coke, and chips, and listened to Chicago records. That summer, Chicago 6 was out, and the songs everyone knew from the radio were Feeling Stronger Every Day and Just You and Me. And we talked about boys at school. I liked M, and I think Karen did too, but she graciously refrained from saying so, as if to let me have him, when in fact he and I had never even made eye contact. We had reason to believe that Judy's crush, a boy none of us were impressed with, liked her back. And Diane's dream boy played on the soccer team, his number 14, easy to spot, as we screamed, "Go Wildcats!" from the sidelines. As late night became early morning, if the weather was good, we'd go for a walk along the railroad tracks behind my house, scaring ourselves by pointing out lights blinking in the woods, possibly from a house in the neighborhood nearby, but more likely the campfire of an escaped convict. Giggling with fright, we'd hurry along, thinking our parents would kill us if they knew what we were doing. Thoroughly spooked by the time we sneaked back inside, we'd either have a seance and attempt to summon up Edgar Allan Poe, or try to render someone weightless by placing 2 fingers of each hand under her, chanting, "She's as light as a feather, she's as stiff as a board." Did you do that? Did boys do that, or did just girls do that? That levitating thing.
I never did it.
Oh, maybe that's a girl thing.
My poetry levitated people.
There you go.
So tell me, you've written novels.
Yep.
Tell me a bit about, you've got a few minutes, so tell me about some of the themes and plot lines.
Okay, well, I'll try to sum it up in 6 minutes. The first novel is called On Air, and that was, I was dating a guy who had this tumultuous relationship with his mother, and they were constantly fighting, and I was always in the middle. Tell my son this, tell my mother this, and it was back and forth, and it used to drive me crazy. And I used to go to my writing group then, and I would just say, you know, those two are driving me crazy. And my partner Rebecca said, "You should write a book about that." And I said, "I don't want to." So when she passed away, I realized I really did want to, because their relationship was really sort of sweet. And so I wrote this book about a guy whose mother is getting older, and he's always been sort of spoiled. He was an only child, and so now he's sort of thrust into this role of caregiver, and he's dealing with the fact that he's lost his job, and he's just in a downward spiral. And then the second book was called Of Zen and Men. which I wrote after I went on a workshop in Virginia where we learned about really writing commercial fiction, because I thought if I can write something really commercial, then my more sort of literary obscure stuff, you know, everyone will want that. So I learned that one of the things in commercial fiction you need to do is, you know, teach the reader about something maybe that's interesting, and also just bombard them with obstacles and drama and stuff. You know, because I used to write about, you know, scenes and scenes of people discussing a book by Dostoevsky.
Right.
It turns out that's not that interesting.
Right.
So, so I wrote this book with a lot of commercial aspects, and the thing that I taught readers about, the main character was very interested in bonsai, so I did a lot of research. So there's a lot of that in.
And you say you went to writers' groups. How important are writers' groups?
So important.
Right.
I had a writers' group, and I went on a writing workshop in Virginia for a week. And all we did was work. It was so, so, so great. And not only that, it's just that energy gets you, and you just can't wait to be writing. You know, when I leave my writing group now, I just can't wait to get home and go back to it, you know. So I think that's a lot of it. It's not just the editing and the feedback, it's just that energy. And so the third book was called In His Genes, which was about a geneticist trying to find the root of a gene mutation before it kills his son. That's kind of a strange one because it also has a little bit of a new age, sort of a guy from outer space aspect. It's sort of like science meets new age. And then the last one, which is the one I talked about in your class, Blue or Blue Skies, that's the one that just I had been working on for years and years and years and years and years, and finally nailed it and published it last year. No, 2014.
That's great. Now, do you have any readings coming up that we should know about?
No, I don't actually. I tend to host things lately, as opposed
What are you
to
hosting? Hosting anything lately?
On well, the thing with Gloria on May 7th, the weekend before, we have Glenn Bowie, Michael
Glenn
Keith,
is your photographer, often photographer.
Yeah, he's a poet. He's got 2 books out by Big Table. He's a photographer for this writing center.
And he makes a mean elevator.
He does. He makes elevators. And Michael Keith, as you know, who's got his 500th collection out, and Laura DeRosier. Do you know her?
No.
Oh, she's a delight. So she's got a new book out. She's out in the western part of the state, so she's coming for that. And then June 11th, I have a new person that I made. Her name is Nancy Kelton. She has a new book out called Finding Mr. Wrightstein. I just met her, but the book looks great. And that's also the day I think I'm going to have a lot of people in who have something in the
Now,
first
how do you
volume.
find clients, or the clients find you?
They find me,
How?
or their friends, or their friends of friends.
Yeah.
I never have any trouble finding clients.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
but
there's
it's
always
just a
this-
question of, you know, I don't